Oh my God. All right. People are going to start filing in. People are getting ready. Bears fall to the Falcons 27-24 after Luke Getsy definitely forgot his brain on the bus for the fourth quarter. Holy cow. What happened at the end? Justin Fields looks like he tore both his hamstrings. Kyler Gordon's out with a concussion, and the offensive line gives up 7 sacks today, I believe, unless they only gave credited because Fields rushed on one of them. But welcome back to this episode of Just Another Year Chicago. My name is Nick Brody, joined alongside Tony Sapita. What happened today? Bears fall 27-24. Tony, first thing that you want to call out before we start getting into things.
Bears have a good draft pick now. I don't know if there's anyone in here yet for coming in late. I'll repeat this later. I guess you wouldn't hear that anyway, but the Bears should have a top 5 draft pick. So honestly, why even talk about the game? Let's just focus on the positives. We get a top 5 draft pick. That's what matters, right?
There were a lot of positives that came out of today's game. There's no doubt about it. And everyone that's coming in, welcome to this episode of Just Another Year Chicago. Start throwing your comments in the chat. Let's talk about it. But the Bears offense didn't look bad again. I like that David Montgomery came out and looked strong out of the gate. But Justin Fields, it truly shows the second his legs aren't a factor anymore, this offense is not good. Not a good day. Not including Chase Claypool again, completely unacceptable. But Justin Fields getting hurt and not being able to run the ball is a huge factor for the Chicago Bears. And I'm a little worried about him now, especially with, no bye week coming up. Tony, you got anything for that?
Yeah, I agree with you. And the reason it really, really is hard for him to obviously make plays when his legs are hurt, or when he's just when he's tired, whatever it may be. Hopefully it's just exhaustion and not any sort of true injury that would be long lasting. But this offensive line, I mean, they did okay at times. I will say they gave him some time at times. They run blocked pretty well. But there were, especially the end of the end of the first half, when it looked like just snipers were hitting him in the head. Right. I know they were screens. They were kind of weird plays. Maybe Cody Whitehair got confused on one of them. Whatever the issue may be, he was taking a beating and he was running the ball. So I don't think that all kind of just piled up and did not go.
I just don't know what Luke Getsy was thinking on the first play with less than 2 minutes left. You're down 3 points and you run with your guy who has taken hits all day and clearly has a leg injury. Now on top of it, after that last play, Fields is going to the sideline, grabbing his shoulder with a shoulder injury. So Fields just got beat up today by an Atlanta front seven that only had 2 sacks for the prior 5 games entering today's game against the Chicago Bears. I'm looking at the stats right now. Atlanta had 4 sacks on Justin Fields. Just unacceptable. I mean, the Bears did convert 50% of the third downs, but Fields was getting absolutely torched all game long by the Atlanta front seven. Just unacceptable. And Luke Getsy had some really strong plays. But where's the effort at the end? That's just where I'm frustrated right now.
Yeah, and this is not in the past couple of games. We could blame the refs. I think that was fair. I am upset that they didn't call that one. I kind of agree with this. I think it was a bad play on both sides of this comment here. But I do think. I mean, he hit Fields in the head when he was sliding. Whoever that was on the
that was a late hit,
and it hurt his shoulder, which. I think and it wasn't his throwing shoulder, it was his left shoulder. But I do think, you need all of that. I do think that factored in, especially on that last pass to Montgomery, which was higher than it could have been. But it did also hit Montgomery in the hands. I think there is blame on both sides there. Just poorly executed final drive. Poorly executed.
It looked like it was for Mooney, because Mooney was running the route right behind, and I think it was underthrown for Mooney, but. Montgomery was right there, so he put his hands up for it. But I agree. I don't think it was too high. I think that it was a good pass overall. Brandon Moss coming in saying that sit Fields the rest of the season. I honestly, I wouldn't mind it, especially if his legs are that messed up. One, I'm gonna put this out there right now. I would start Trevor Siemian next week, just with how many injuries, 2 hamstring injuries and a shoulder. Just have Trevor Siemian ready to go next week. Rest Fields up, because then the following week you have Green Bay. So I would rather have Justin Fields for Green Bay instead of next week against, the New York Jets, I believe, in New York.
Yeah.
There's nothing why waste it? Throw Trevor Siemian out. The season's done. First of all, my 10-7 record just got thrown out the gate. Thanks a lot, guys. Luke Getsy, you owe me a lot of money. But anyway, like just overall, I would sit him at least next game all season. I still want Fields to get that progression because he has to build up that chemistry with Chase Claypool too. Why is Luke Getsy not using Chase Claypool is another question for me, which really pissed me off today.
Yeah, I agree. He had, I think he had 15 snaps at halftime. Chase Claypool did. He played a lot. It was either they were running the ball or they weren't throwing to him. And maybe, we'll have to look at the tape. Maybe he just truly was, not open. But it definitely felt like anything that I kind of noticed when it was, Claypool was, in on that play. He ran a route. It just seemed like it was away from the action, which was very weird. I don't know if maybe he's just not ready.
Also,
I don't know.
Claypool also looked pissed off on the sideline. They didn't mean to show his face, but it was when offensive coordinator Luke Getsy was gathered around Justin Fields and all the receivers kind of talking to them kind of through the game plan. And Claypool just like was looking around with like that angry little kid face on, like, why am I not getting more playing time? Because when Claypool did get the ball, things were happening. But it was so inconsistent. They're throwing Pettis out there more often, which Pettis had an okay game. Nice fake on the punt, by the way. That was a nice fake. But overall, I think that they're not using him enough. And Mooney had a hot start, and then they just never went to him again. They kept going to Komet. They kept going to anyone else. They kept going to Montgomery, which is fine. But Luke Getsy's play calling today was okay. The Bears still had, 288 yards of offense. But it was just such a big running game today. There was so much rushing, and that's why Dave Montgomery had a huge day today. Dave Montgomery on the ground, 17 carries for 67 yards and a touchdown, and then he received 3 for 54, which is pretty good. Justin Fields, 18 rushes for 85 yards, 4.7 yards, and a touchdown. So Fields had 2 total touchdowns on the game, over 235 yards total offense, but he did have that interception, which – what are you going to do there? He was under pressure, and it still was a good throw. Just Monty couldn't bring it down.
Yeah, I've been trying to find the the replay of it for minutes at this point. I just cannot find it. So someone didn't put it up or something.
And here comes Gary. This is what I feared the most has come true. Justin is the guy, but he isn't invincible. Everyone needs to step up. It was bound to happen. And even the announcers during the game were saying that Justin Fields after last game was more sore from how much he ran over the fact that he was hit. So that truly shows that Justin Fields is one tough cookie. I just want to put that out there. But
yeah, he was
getting hit everywhere today.
Yeah, he was saying it in the press conferences this past week leading up to, basically saying, my legs are just kind of, they're starting to get heavy after these games because he is running so much. He's doing so much, which, I mean, obviously he's going to have to do that in the future still. Like, that is just part of his dynamic, playmaking ability, but there has to be, it can't be every single play, which I think will get fixed in the future when we do add more weapons, when he isn't running for his life also, besides the design runs. So
I specifically want to call out this one play is that Justin had a wide open field to run it upfield. Like, he had like 20 clear yards in the red zone. Bears ended up getting a field goal out of this play. Or no, it was the Montgomery run. Sorry. But he could have easily ran it himself and gotten 25 yards like we're used to. But that's when we started to notice, I was watching it with my dad today. We started to notice that Fields wasn't acting like himself because he was avoiding running the ball, and he threw it to St. Brown, who got the first down, which was a great play. It was fancy, but Fields had all the time in the world, all the field in the world to run it himself and for sure get the first down. That's when I knew things were starting to slowly go wrong.
Yeah, he did take a big hit too, kind of near the end where he got like tossed out of bounds. Not just the head. Yeah.
Hey, but if it was Aaron Rodgers or anybody else, that would have been a penalty.
Oh, are you kidding me? Tom Brady would have combusted.
Suspension for that guy. Yeah, exactly. Deerfield Joe coming in saying, good. I can count on one hand all the good plays that the offensive line protecting on that. Deerfield Joe, stop speaking into Siri. Oh my gosh. Like, you need to type it out. I know what you're saying, but I'm just going to call you out right there. Because I can't throw out the next comment either because I don't understand it. But the offensive line for sure did not do their job today. I like that Riley Reef spiked down that one ball that he threw at the defender's head, and it went up like 30 yards into the air, and then Riley Reef just hit it with his hand. That was pretty good.
That was a major league pop-up. That was in the air. I was like, oh no, it's gonna come down. Oh no, it's gonna come down.
And he volleyball
When is it coming
swatted
down?
at it.
Thought it got caught up in the roof.
Yeah. But I just want to go back since we got more people coming into the room. Throw your comments. F the O-line and Getsy from Gambit. What's going on, man? I want to throw out there, and I was about to bring up Luke Getsy before we go into the defense a little bit, is that the last 2 games, I feel like either Eberflus has been telling him, like, maybe for the draft pick, but they just give up at the end of games. They did it against Miami. There was no energy at the end. And, against Detroit, a little bit different. They wanted to win an NFC North game, but there was no energy at the end of the game. And I was getting so, when they ran it with Fields, I was like, what are you doing? Do a designed pass play that goes downfield to get more than a first down. But I don't know. And they're saying, oh, Getsy's in for a head coaching position. Not with the decisions that he just made right there. I was a little annoyed by that. Ron, we see your comment. We're coming up to in a sec. I want to see what Tony says about my last comment.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And I'm going to kind of loop in Gambit's actually comment here. And I know he later said maybe he'll change the grade to a C. You have to almost grade it in 2 halves because it was that first half. I think it was awesome.
It was great.
Overall, I think it was fantastic. Fantastic play calling. The offensive line was a little shaky. That wasn't, Getsy's fault. But yeah, that second half was absolutely brutal. And then to your point about those end of games, I truly think maybe we didn't realize it before. Maybe it was just, everyone looks so good. Cole Kmet looks good. But I think it is just the Justin Fields getting tired doing everything.
He's gassed,
when he's not doing everything, it's like, wow, this team stinks. Like when he's not able to do everything.
Looked good. I think that one-handed catch was sick.
I screamed out loud.
Beautiful. I bet you texted me you want to have his kids. I don't blame you.
Yeah.
The offensive line definitely needs help. I think they need to address that in the draft. The other thing is that Montgomery, I think he deserves a contract extension. I know that you don't really like, but coming out when Khalil Herbert is out and having 100+ yard game and literally carrying the offense for a while Justin Fields is hurt, David Montgomery's got a lot of heart. And with no offensive line either.
Yeah, we can go to Ron's comment after this because I agree with what he's saying for sure. Oh, we're getting hit by spam bots. I like it.
Spam
love
bots
on a new dating site. Let's go.
Don't click on it.
So with Montgomery, I know I've taken the stance of don't pay a running back. I mean, it's kind of like a Roquan thing. What he wants is so much. If we could talk him down or we can do something, that's where
you think Monty wants a lot of money.
But he was. Yeah, I think he knows this is his pay. Like this is his final bag, or I guess first bag, but also final bag because it is a running back. Yeah. That's just how teams view him. It's not just us. But I definitely was more convinced today. I will say that it is truly like just not once in a lifetime, but he's a
one-hit wonder. You get one contract and then you're done. Like you've made your money, you retire. Yeah, like you said, running backs are very fluid in the NFL. Let's go to Ron's comment real quick, and we're answering all the comments we can in the next 10 minutes, guys. So make sure you keep throwing them in the chat. We got some more people entering. Thanks for entering this episode of Just Another Chicago. Bears fall 27-24. Luke Getsy at the end. Questionable. Let's go to Ron's comment real quick, though. The only goal for the rest of the season is to keep Justin Fields out of the hospital. They failed that goal today because Justin Fields had 2 massage guns on his hamstrings, laying on the ground at one point. They even zoomed in on it. Then Justin Fields' shoulder is now hurt. Just completely unacceptable for Luke Getsy and Matt Eberflus to throw him in that position. That's your franchise quarterback for the future, and you're going to potentially hurt him and start taking step back. I would have threw Trevor Siemian in right after that play. No question. Next man up, throw him in there. And they failed that today. I'm just going to put that out there. We got first name, last name. Is he alive? Yes, he is breathing, but is he physically able to do anything? Don't know. I know you wanted to reply to Ron's comment, Tony, before we start getting to
I was just going to say what the offensive line did to him for a bit, and then Getsy at the end. It might be against the Geneva Convention. That was truly torture we were watching because he doesn't want to come out. He's the toughest guy in every game he's going to play, and he will show you that. But it's one of those like finally the new concussion rules. It's not just he got his clock cleaned. It's like no, he should. Let's make the decision for him. Obviously, he wants to go in, and not saying he has a concussion, but his whole body in general. So,
I think Deerfield Joe started typing. He might have heard us that time. You can't do that to Justin Fields, making him a sacrificable lamb. so you get a better draft pick. I agree. I 100% agree with this comment. They should have threw Trevor Siemian out there after his hamstring injury. Personally, I mean, Trevor Siemian's got an arm. He's pretty accurate guy. He's a veteran. He shows what he can do. He's played Atlanta before when he played for the Saints last year. There was an opportunity for that, and they just wanted to keep Fields out there. I didn't agree with the call.
Yeah, I definitely sacrificial lamb is a very good
sacrificial lamb. That's a good one.
That's
a good one.
Yeah.
A Gambit wants a girlfriend, so I see
I
that.
blocked that. I blocked that.
Thank you for blocking
out
it.
of here quick. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Gary coming in, happy for Cordell Patterson. I miss him very much. I miss him too. I really do. He had a great game today. You know, when he returned that, breaking Hester's record Hester broke the record, by the way, in an Atlanta uniform. So Patterson did it again. So good for the Falcons. But, you know, I do wish the Bears had him still, but it didn't make sense. It just didn't make sense to bring him back. They wanted to break this thing down, but it was a fun day. It's always fun watching, you know, a former fan favorite. Let's go into George coming in here. Throwing fists. Ron, watch out. I don't want to hear anyone complain about that line again. I have been saying compliment that line again. I have been saying it for a while that the line has sucked for Justin Fields. Make it look good, and they never fail. Prove me right at any point in the season. They were good, except excluding Tevin Jenkins. I like that he threw that in there. Which Tevin Jenkins, it shows how much he means to that offensive line, which I am so happy that the Bears did not get rid of him. But yeah, Tevin Jenkins, he was definitely missed today.
Yeah, Michael Schofield definitely deserved that ball off his noggin, if you know what I'm talking about.
Did you like how they were like, oh, maybe they should throw him in the medical tent because that thing was a bullet right to the back of the head.
Yep, I said, yeah, it's just Justin Fields saying, hey, block better, dummy, you know.
Yeah. I agree. I think that's exactly the message Fields was
Fields
sending.
is my fantasy QB too.
He's mine too. He's mine too.
Leagues. Yep.
Picked him up a couple weeks ago. I love it. Ron coming in here. I've been saying the offensive line sucks since the beginning of the season. I was the one saying it a few times. I might add. Okay, Ron. You know, it was total joke. I love seeing Ron live comment us.
I'll defend you here, Ron. Nick's been the one banging for the offensive line. Sam Mustafer, that's his boy.
What are you talking about?
Think,
get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Tony thinks USA Soccer is more important than the Bears today. Just want to put that out there. And they're not even playing today.
Yeah, they're not.
What are you going to say, Tony? What are you going to say?
Hey, the United States of America, pretty cool. I'll say it.
We are a cool country. Yeah, that's for sure. The clip of Schofield getting dumb needs to be your opener. That'll be for our Monday episode. You know, Mondays are worse with a loss, and you know, Schofield is definitely going to be worse. Don't forget Cole Kmet's amazing catch. The formula using Kmet the last 2 games has worked. Why change it? I agree. I think Cole Kmet's been doing a great job. You know, I think that he deserves to be on this roster moving forward. He's been doing great. His touchdown streak was broken today, unfortunately. I think they should have included him in the red zone a little bit more. But again, Tony needs to stop drinking. Hey, Tony, did you have a Miller today?
No. You know, just woke up nice and early for a little soccer, Ecuador versus Qatar, and
he's not doing Ron. He's not doing no nut November. He's doing no beer November.
Yes,
so that is exactly what he's doing.
I have a quick little Fields update, kind of. So Patrick Finley tweeted this out. It was like 8 minutes ago. Oh, okay. This is late. Never mind. People are saying late, so this might have been right at the end of the game. But Fields rode in a cart to go get further medical examination inside Mercedes-Benz Stadium. That might have been right at the end of the game, but still not what you want to see.
Oh man, I hate hearing
there's a video from Adam Johns. He gave a little that to the crowd.
Gary,
no, he didn't. No, he didn't. He held his shoulder. Oh,
Gary's got the formula.
Next week, promise.
Next week.
It was not a peace sign. It was him holding his shoulder. Much worse than I thought it was. He's just kind of like that as he's riding back to the tunnel. So.
Yes. And everyone that's listening in, thank you for listening. We're not done yet. We got a couple more minutes here. Please make sure that you like this video and hit the subscribe button. It helps us out. We love bringing you guys Bears content. So we always appreciate your guys' support. Make sure you go check out our last couple videos. But thank you again for everyone for joining in. And I'm going to answer a couple more comments here before we close out. We got Ron right here. So all we need to do next year is an O-line, a number 1 wide receiver, and a defense, and a defensive coordinator. Then we'll all be set. That's a big ask. But I think they can get the number 1 wide receiver out of the gate. I think that will get covered through the draft. Offensive line, I think they'll be able to do for free agency. And then defense, I don't know. Jack Sanborn had another big game today. I just want to put that out there. He had a nice game. So just to clarify, he had 9 tackles. Not my 17 that I predicted, but not a bad day for Jack Sanborn.
So final update here on Justin Fields. Pro Football Doc, who is pretty good, I will say. Unfortunately says, headed for x-ray, not expecting fracture, but left AC joint sprain. He doesn't know. He's going based on videos that he sees. He's a Twitter guy. If you, I don't know if you know who he is, at Pro Football Doc, but he's unfortunately pretty accurate. So
shit,
we may get our Trevor Siemian versus the Jets. Oh God, that just hurt to say. Experience next week.
Hey, New York stinks. They don't deserve to see Justin Fields out there.
That's what I've always said. Absolutely.
Yes. And this is for Tony. I saw U.S. Soccer was playing Walnex. I didn't know that Walmart even had a soccer team.
Well, they have an American football team, so why wouldn't they have an, I guess, a Welsh football team? You know, they had the Broncos, and now they get, you know, so it just makes sense. We're gonna beat the snot out of Wales tomorrow. But back to the Bears.
Well, final comments here is that Luke Getsy, questionable decision. He definitely lost a lot of stock in becoming a head coach next season. Montgomery's stock is up, and I hope Trevor Siemian's ready to go next week because I do not want Justin Fields. He's my quarterback. I don't want him touching the field. That's just the last thing I'm going to say.
Yeah, no, I think you summed that up pretty well. I'm just basically going to say the same thing you did, so I won't. Ditto. I'll throw that out there.
A real nail biter next week. The Jets.
Yeah, two terrible quarterbacks. We're gonna see Zach Wilson puke and Trevor Siemian, I guess. So actually, Trevor Siemian, former he was on the Jets, I think, right? He got violently injured, I'm pretty sure.
Something like that. Yeah. Joe Flacco plays for the Jets, so anyone can play for the Jets at this point. But thank you everyone for tuning in to this episode of Just Another Year Chicago. Sorry we couldn't bring you better news, but the Bears, they're 3-8. They're on the brink of not making the playoffs. But the one thing I want to say is that I was rooting for the Lions today. I was because now we are not the only team that Dan Campbell's ever beaten on the road. Just want to put that out there. Bears are now officially in last place in the NFC North with the Green Bay Packers. So it's anyone's division at this point. But with that, Tony, any more comments before we close out?
This was a tank win. It's unfortunate that, as Deerfield Joe said, Justin Fields was the sacrificial lamb. That part I do not like, but the draft pick looking good. We trade back, build our team up through that in free agency. Honestly, Super Bowl next year, baby. Super Bowl's back on.
I need the refs to protect Justin Fields. Couldn't agree more. And Getsy is still better than Nagy.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Hey, Ron, the playoffs are still not out of the picture. I was just stating that it's getting to be close to not happening, but I still think the playoffs are going to happen.
Shockingly, I was the rational one on that. Even though I picked the Bears to win every week, I was the rational one on it. Not gonna brag.
You did. I will say Tony was a little more level-headed myself. But with that, Tony, oh, shut up. I love you too, Ron. I really appreciate it. I love Ron. Ron could tell me to piss off, and I would say, thank you, Ron. I appreciate it. So thank you all those for joining in this episode. I'm seeing if Ron does end up commenting piss off real quick. But thank you, everyone, for joining this episode of Just Another Year Chicago. Bears fall 27-24. There's still a chance for the playoffs, Ron. I love you. Later, guys. But have a great rest of your weekend, Chicago. We'll talk to you guys throughout the week. And if we don't see you, have a great Thanksgiving. Thanks, Chicago.